Welcome to the Financial Literacy Module Overview for Banks and Credit Unions Helping You. My name is Sarah Gill, and I will be facilitating this overview. This project is funded by the Ontario Trillium Foundation. This webinar will give you an overview of the Financial Literacy Project and the contents of the Banks and Credit Unions Helping You workshop. Each module has been created as a standalone training. They are all color-coded for easy reference. Each module has its own overview webinar with similar background information about the project, but specific to the module you are wanting to use. You will need to do a full review of all of the materials before facilitating the workshop for the first time. You can choose not to take the webinar if you feel you can handle the materials without it. You may want to print the module materials before going through this webinar for reference. This project is led by the Adult Basic Education Association of Hamilton. Partners include the Haldnor Community Credit Union, Project Read Literacy Network, Waterloo Wellington, College Boreal, Hamilton location, Catholic Family Services of Hamilton, Hamilton Literacy Council, and Hamilton Ontario Works. In terms of the agenda, the introduction will give you a general overview of the project, the audience, the documents and tools, etc. In the module Setup and Preparation section, we will review what each module includes and the multimedia components. The module overview looks at suggested timelines and tours the materials. There's also further assistance and questions and comments. Target audiences could include those who are living on social assistance, who have low income levels or are on a fixed income, who struggle with budgeting and debt levels, who want to learn more about managing finances, or whose first language is not English. These workshops are also for those who find themselves living on less income than in the past. For example, in Hamilton, there was a downturn in the manufacturing sector. In past years, these jobs were high-paying and plentiful, but fewer positions exist today, leaving many working in jobs with far lower pay rates. Some of those who may need this workshop will be those who own homes, cars, have kids attending post-secondary, but whose income no longer meets their former lifestyle. All documents and tools were developed using the approved Learning Networks of Ontario, or L&O, Clear Writing Guidelines. This is to make the information accessible to as many readers as possible. Clear Writing makes information accessible to those who are learning English, upgrading their literacy skills, living with visual impairments, people who are busy, or youth who are used to accessing information quickly. Most materials currently available about financial literacy are written well above the level of finances available and/or the language levels of many people. Learning how to work within their finances, but looking beyond that level to future potential, is key to helping individuals move outside poverty and debt into sustainable living. Budgeting on a fixed income is extremely difficult for most people. Those with low literacy skills have the additional barrier due to their skill sets. Who can present this workshop? Workshops can be used by facilitators in English as a Second Language or ESL programs, Literacy and Basic Skills or LBS programs or Academic Upgrading programs, Ontario Works, youth training programs, family programs, or other community agencies. All training materials are available on the Adult Basic Education Association website, as well as the Learning Networks of Ontario website. All information is available in English and French. This is the Adult Basic Education Association homepage. Simply click on Tools for Community Partners, Workshops and Presentations, and the Financial Literacy Project is linked here with introductions and documents to be downloaded in both English and French. These materials are free to use. There are 3 modules, including Budgeting, You and Your Money, Credit and Debt, and this one, Banks and Credit Unions Helping You. Each module has its own training overview. When using the materials, please let us know if you find any errors or have any technical difficulties with the files or links. Email them to edassist@abea.on.ca. This email is also at the end of the presentation. You can choose to deliver 1, 2, or 3 of the modules, deliver them in any order if using more than one, and customize them to fit your audience. Each module includes a facilitator's guide, a PowerPoint presentation, handouts for use in the workshop, an evaluation, take-home documents, and a participant certificate of completion. There are also posters available to advertise the workshop being delivered. Posters are available in both French and English in 8.5 by 11 and 11 by 17 sizes. Within this module, there are multimedia resources such as videos, websites, and online calculators. Live links are provided in the PowerPoint presentation. Simply click on them and go to the site as long as you have access to the internet. You will need to review all of the links prior to leading the module session. You can choose to have them open, ready to go before the session, or open them as you need them. If you're unable to access them in the session, you can download the multimedia folder. This includes many of the videos and screenshots of the websites and calculators. If you find additional resources that you would like to share but will not have internet access during the session, you could create a screen capture to show participants and encourage them to open those sites on their own at a later time. They can use home computers or go to their local library or other local computer resource sites. To create these screenshots, just open the web page and click on Print Screen. Open a program like Word and click Paste and save the document to show during the workshop. You can also sometimes open your browser and have an Adobe button that will convert it to a PDF so that you can save it and use during the workshop. When preparing to present this module, you will need to review all of the materials. The Facilitator's Guide has instructions for the facilitator in yellow boxes with the workshop content, tips for participants in green boxes, and references to the handouts and PowerPoint slides that go with the content in the margin. For all of the workshop content, the box in the margin identifies the slide number from the PowerPoint. I'm just going to show you an example from the Facilitator's Guide with the yellow boxes, the instructions for the facilitator, and the green boxes, tips for participants. This is the Facilitator Guide for banks and credit unions helping you. It goes through an introduction, shows you the contents of the workshop, and on page 4 we see this yellow box that includes instructions to you as a facilitator, as well as the graphic for all the handouts. As you continue, you can see the slide boxes. And here is one of the green boxes, which are tips for the participants. PowerPoint presentation. Feel free to make the presentation work for your audience. You can choose to remove slides, revise the presentation as needed to fit your audience. Please identify the source of any added information. Do not change the branding or design. Identifying new sources. Sources of new information need to be identified clearly in writing. For example, if you want to share an internet resource as part of the workshop, it's recommended that you include the URL or website address on a slide and include the details of the source in the notes section. For example, who created the site, any specific author of the page, when it was last updated, etc. Also, be careful about your personal biases or assumptions. Try not to speak as if you know how your audience feels or thinks. Instead, ask them. Keep the conversation open and supportive. Allow them to express thoughts and ideas and to ask questions. You'll need to review the PowerPoint presentation along with the notes to get familiar with the content and the links. Add as many notes in the PowerPoint as you need to make it work for your presentation style. Handouts are used to provide larger size resources of the presentation content, facilitate activities, and add interest to the presentation. You can choose to use all of the handouts or pick those that you feel work best for your audience. You can also add other handouts you have found. We will look at the handouts for this module later in the overview. The evaluation has two parts: questions to complete before the workshop and questions to complete after the workshop. The evaluation is meant to be quick and easy to use by participants, but also provide you with feedback on the session. We will review the evaluation later in the overview. Take-home documents. There's a longer document that summarizes all of the workshop content and handouts, and shorter documents, extra resources like rack cards, which are reminders of key information. In addition to the handouts for the module, we do encourage you to offer these take-home handouts to your participants. Have these resources printed out so that participants can choose what they would like to take. We will review these resources later in the overview. For this module, there is just one longer document as a take-home resource. There are no shorter documents. You can choose to offer participants a certificate of completion for each module. The certificate is available in both French and English and can be downloaded from ABEA's website. This workshop, about a 3-hour minimum, was created with the goal of teaching participants about the importance of using a bank or credit union, finding the right bank or credit union, reasons and ways to save or invest money, and tips to protect themselves. This module uses the expertise of both a credit union and a bank. Many resources came from government websites and not-for-profit support groups. You can find a list of all resources at the end of the facilitator's guide. You can adjust the suggested schedule, on the next slide, of the workshop to meet your needs. What we have given you is a minimum required. You may want to have more time for discussion or interactive work. Make the schedule fit your audience. These timelines are guidelines only. You may choose to spend more time on one section and less on another, depending on your audience and their needs and interests. In the Facilitator's Guide, there are explanations of what you will cover in each section. Build in breaks as you see fit. Likely, if you're running this as a half-day session, you will have one 20-minute break. If this group has completed the budgeting module already, you can skip section 5. As mentioned before, the Facilitator's Guide takes you through each section in detail and includes instructions, slide numbers to the presentation, and handout references. The PowerPoint presentation has many multimedia resources. For example, there's an online resource, photo card, an interest calculator, saving money for an emergency video, why you should save and how video, how Interact e-transfers work, investing with registered savings plans, and a few more websites, Financial Consumer Agency of Canada and the Power of Attorney forums. These resources can be accessed directly from the PowerPoint presentation, or if you'll be presenting the module without an internet connection, you can download many of the resources beforehand. We're going to look at those multimedia resources. They will have to be gone through on your own to make sure the links work and that you're comfortable with the content. The first one is on slide 27. You'll notice that the links become active when you view the slideshow. Simply click on the link and it will take you to the web page. Next, we have an interest calculator. Which is on this site. On slide 35, you have your first video. And again, just click on the image and it will go directly to the video. You simply click the play button here. You can enlarge it once it's playing, and I do suggest that you have external speakers so that the audio is loud for a larger room. So there are, like I said, many of the multimedia resources, and they're all documented in the PowerPoint with live links, so just be sure to review them before you present the module. There are also many handouts. These handouts are all marked in the facilitator's guide, as well as the PowerPoint presentation in the notes section. So we'll take a look at the handouts as well as the evaluation. The handouts include questions to ask when you're talking to the bank or credit union, identification you need to open an account, stop, think, and connect resource, before you sign any contract, identity theft statement, how to prevent fraud and identity theft, protect yourself, and 6 tips to protect you against identity theft. Here is the first handout, example questions to ask when talking to the credit union or bank. Handout B, identification you need to open a bank or credit account. Handout C, Stop, Think, and Connect resource. Handout D, Before you sign any contract, 10 things to know. Handout E, Identity Theft Statement. This has several pages, and it has been written in clear writing. Handout F, How to Prevent Fraud and Identity Theft. Handout G, Protecting Yourself, looking at lotteries, phone scammers about family emergencies, and getting rich quick schemes. Handout H, Tips to protect yourself against identity theft. And finally, the participant evaluation. You'll notice there is a couple of statements to rate before the workshop, several after the workshop, and there's a space at the end to enter some short comments. We encourage you to offer the take-home handout to your participants, as well as have them take home any handouts used in the workshop. Have this resource printed out so that participants can choose if they'd like to take it. The Take-Home Document A Participant Take-Home Booklet is a long document with all of the module content and the charts used in the workshop. Feel free to remove pages that you don't feel apply to your group. Here is the take-home document. You'll notice that it has all of the content that was discussed in the workshop. And finally, there's also other documents, the Certificate of Completion and the poster. The Certificate of Completion is a fillable PDF document. You can add the participant's name, the date, your agency name, and then print it out and sign it. The poster, as mentioned, is available in 8.5 by 11 and 11 by 17. You can add the details of the session to it and post it to advertise. Here's the Certificate of Completion. You add the participant name, the date, and the agency name, and sign here. And here is the poster. You can add where the session will take place, when, and how to register. Further assistance, comments, and questions. Do you have any questions about this module or how to facilitate it? Do you have any comments to share? If so, please contact Adult Basic Education Association by phone or by visiting our website. Thank you for participating today.